Sometimes in life, you have just got to do the thing that absolutely terrifies you. So on that note, welcome to my first ever stitch with me. Now, to be completely upfront here, I don't know how this is going to go. I've got two cameras set up. I don't know if they're the right way around. I don't know if it would have worked better the other way. I don't know how I'm going to fare in this different format. I don't know how heavily edited this video will have to be to cut out all of the mild panic attacks that I have during. But we'll just see. This has been requested so many times and I've been putting it off since basically the start of the channel, so it's time to put on my big girl pants. Today then, we will be working on Three-Toed Sloth from Unconventional X-Stitch, which I bought last October. I started it for the 24 hours of cross-stitch weekend that month. And I did start off with the best of intentions, parking in 20 by 20 blocks, but I soon chose chaos, and it's just kind of been whichever of those two methods I felt like ever since. And that's kind of how I stitch a lot of the time. I'll just flip between different methods, just depending on how I feel that day, and it works fine for me. This may be too chaotic for some. I completely understand. But I like it. Now, I thought today what I would do is start by working in these threads down here that I just kind of parked back when I had the intention to go back to parking in 20 by 20 blocks. Let's just say that. I had the intention. It didn't quite work out that way in practice because I got overexcited by filling in the moon. But yeah, if I get those out of the way, then there's a nice chunk of just plain dark blue down here that will be really easy to stitch on camera while talking. So that sounds like a plan to me. Let's do it. Yeah, see, I went to pick up Pattern Keeper and I've immediately got distracted because it turns out a bundle of jigsaw puzzles that I bought on Vinted is ready for collection, so I guess this video is going to need a lot of editing if it keeps going at this rate. You can tell I'm nervous because I've literally just sat here and told you I'm going to work in these threads down here, and then I've looked at what's parked down there and I've gone and got myself a brand new thread in the right colour. I don't need it. I've got one parked. Okay, deep breaths, Michelle. This is a disaster already. I'm going to start with one of the lower down ones, I think. That makes sense. And yes, I'm going to be licking my threads a lot. Deal with it. I really should have planned this better, and to be fair, I did try. I did try and get the project to a point where I would be able to pick up one colour and just kind of stitch on it while chatting. But the problem is, I'm just in a section that has a ton of confetti. So no matter what I pick, there's not going to be a huge amount of stitches of that in one go. And in fact, this colour, I think there's maybe just these three, which is not compelling viewing, but it is how cross-stitch be sometimes. Yep, that's it. The next ones are too far away for me to count and park, so you're about to see the back of my work. And I do just want to give a trigger warning first because, as I said, I started this project in a very orderly fashion, and then I kind of started filling in the bits and pieces. And I will carry the thread a long way on the back, which does not make for tidiness. So, yeah, you have been warned. Generally then, when I am finishing a thread and I can't be bothered to weave it in, I turn that around as if I was going to, but again, I'm just in a panic and my brain isn't braining. So normally I wouldn't even flip that to the back, I would just pull it out here, and you can see what I like to do is kind of do a horizontal line so I can tell the difference immediately between a thread that is finished and just needs to be stitched over and then snipped versus a thread that is parked, because the ones that are parked do not have that little dash. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. I don't know if anyone else does that, but whatever. Okay, this is really making for thrilling content so far. I'm glad I did this. Unsurprisingly, I would say, I've kind of made a pig's ear of this because there's just nothing that satisfying to stitch, but I think I've maybe found something. What I should have done is definitely make sure I knew where I was starting as soon as I turned the camera on. I'm sure that's what the professional stitch with me's do. But, you know, we're experimenting. We're just learning. It's okay. Alright, we've got a few of these stitches to go. So, let's just take a breath and settle into it, shall we? If you've never filmed one of these before, it is like a lot more stressful than you might think. Whew. Okay, so obviously one of the reasons that I have put off making a Stitch With Me video for so long, despite all of the requests, is that I kind of knew it would be a shambles, and we are seeing that now. But that wasn't the main reason, because I figure you just practice, you know, and eventually I would get better. The main reason that I haven't done it is because of my nails. Like, this is going to sound ridiculous to some of you, but I've talked about this before. I am a nail biter and a skin picker, and I try my best, and sometimes I'll manage to grow them and keep my hands in lovely condition for weeks, if not months at a time, and then sometimes I have a stressful appointment or something, or I just lose concentration, and within about 5 seconds, all of those weeks and months of progress are just gone. It's very frustrating, and it's a very difficult habit to break, because it's not like you're consciously doing it. You're only aware you've done it, or I'm only aware I've done it, after you've done it. So this is a problem that I have been trying to deal with for many, many years, and as I said, sometimes it's okay. I am getting slightly better, like the times when I have nails are definitely becoming more frequent. But the problem is, when I started this channel, I remember thinking, that's it, I'm going to be forced to grow them now. I'm not going to have any choice because I'm going to need to grow my hands. So, to show my hands. So it'll be the perfect motivation. And I thought, that's it, problem solved. But it turns out that's not how brains work. So instead of this being the motivation I needed to easily grow my nails and never think of it ever again, what it's actually been is a constant shame spiral where I will plan videos, and then the night before I go to record them, I'll accidentally bite my nails, and then I feel like I have to quickly think of something else to record that day because now I can't possibly show my ridiculous hands. And it's just, like, it's very tiring. And the thing is, I know it's not an unfounded worry because people do care what your hands look like in these kinds of videos. So, yeah, I just never know if I should do it and just, like, not address it, or if I should address it like I am doing now for some reason, or if I should just stick to face-only videos, which isn't great on a crafting channel. Anyway, I'm waffling and I'm stitching in no particular order. Normally I would be much more methodical about this, but I'm just still trying to calm down and ease into this, okay? So you might be thinking, like, if you're like me and you're a habitual nail biter, you might be looking at how mine currently are on camera and you might be thinking, you know what, that's absolutely fine. Because I agree, this is way better than most of the time in my history. But the problem is, it's not quite real, or it's not quite showing you the full extent. When I stitch, I do it with my other hand behind the stand most of the time. And it happened again, just like I described before. I planned to record this today, and then last night I found myself biting at the skin on my thumb on my right hand. And you know what? I'm going to show you, because you may have caught a glimpse of it already in this video, because I told myself I wasn't going to make an effort to completely hide it, but at the same time I am very ashamed, so I hope you know what a big deal it is for me to hold this up to the camera, and I'm going to hold it up to the face camera because I know that one has good focus. So yeah, warning, look away now if you don't like gore. but my thumb has had a bit of a run-in with my teeth. Hope that shows up alright on camera. And on the other hand, this finger, my ring finger, which I've forgotten to put my wedding ring on. Oops, nobody tell Dave. It looks a bit of a mess, right? That finger? It's a short nail, it's kind of raggy. Well, okay, this is a horrible thing to admit. That's actually builder gel. That's not even my real nail, because this one really does come with a gore warning. Like, I'm serious if you don't like the sight of, well, if you don't like body horror, like, do look away now. This is what that nail currently looks like under the builder gel. And I'm gutted because until very recently I was doing great with that one, and then, like I said, just the space of one night, it just goes. And it's going to take so long to grow it back. So I'm left here thinking, do I just not record anything that involves my hands? Anyway, this has been my nail rant. If you are also a nail biter, I see you. It is the worst. It is really difficult to get past, but all we can do is try. All we can do is our best, and I'm sick of being ashamed of my hands, and I'm not going to do it anymore, so I'm just going to show them on camera, and if people don't like to watch my channel because of that, then so be it. Feels good to get that off my chest. Okay, where was I? Coming to the end of these brown stitches, I believe, but I'm not marking them off on Pattern Keeper as often as I would be because I'm talking to you, so, oh god, let me just do that. So I came down from up there, yes, See, I have no problem doing this kind of chaos stitching because I normally mark them off every few stitches, so I kind of don't lose track of where I am, and sometimes I make mistakes. We've all seen me have to frog on camera a number of occasions, but normally it works out fine. I didn't anticipate how difficult it would be keeping track while also talking on camera though, so once again, something we need to practice. Alright, one more thread down. This is the worst. I am not going to lie to you. This is the worst. I am not a natural at this, and I don't like it. So what I'm going to do to give us all a break for a moment is I'm going to tell you about the shop that I got this pattern from, and in the meantime, in the background, I will just edit out the part where I stitch all of these bits and bobs here, because there's only like 1 or 2 stitches to each thread, and I really should have known that before starting this video because it's really unsatisfying to watch. So as I said before, this is Three-Toed Sloth from Unconventional X-Stitch. I can never remember the name of the artist, but I will put it up on screen now. My brain is just like fritzing out real bad right now, as I think we can all tell. So they have a lot of great patterns in this same style, but outside of that one artist, Unconventional X-Stitch also has a ton of other great patterns. And I had a shortlist of probably about 20 of the things before settling on this sloth. Now, the best thing about the shop is their no AI policy. So you can actually just browse the shop and buy a nice pattern that you think is pretty, and you don't have to worry about it ethically or do like 3 hours of research into the artist to make sure it's real. So yeah, not sponsored or anything, but if you just want somewhere where you can choose from a range of great patterns and you don't have to feel like a creep for shopping there, Unconventional X-Stitch has got your back. What this video experiment is teaching me so far is that doing voiceover after the fact would have been much easier. I should have just pretended, honestly. Just skip the face cam, do a voiceover, no one would be any the wiser. But I decided to try and be genuine. For you. I wonder what else it'll teach me by the end. Perhaps that my top-down camera isn't even in focus. That would be great. That would actually be quite typical. I did a practice run yesterday, which, no spoilers, but Stitch Squad members, you've got that to look forward to. And the focus issue was real bad. So I think I've fixed it today. I really hope I've fixed this today, because otherwise I've probably lost you all about 10 minutes ago. Normally I do the kind of zigzagging line by line stitch approach, so I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm just literally making it up as I go along. It's an absolute disaster. Okay, where are we? You know what, that'll do for that colour. That will do. Should really put that further away, but again, we're panicking. Doesn't matter. What matters is the stitches are in and that they are marked off correctly on Pattern Keeper. Alright, this is the new deal. Whenever it turns out I've parked a thread without really checking, and there's only one stitch to be done of it, first of all, minus points to me. Second of all, I'm just going to edit that thread out, because that's like so annoying to watch, and also to stitch, to be fair. Oh, one stitch, how exciting. Ugh, it's the worst. But that's on past me. I also keep making eye contact with this camera in front of me here, which is not helpful because you're over there, but it's just like habit. I'm used to having you in front of me, so I just keep looking up and like waggling my eyebrows, but you're not getting it. Sorry. That camera battery is not gonna last. But I can fix it. I'm literally playing thread chicken on camera. This is like the one thing. When I started my Discord server, I thought it's going to be such a bad influence on me and it's going to be so stressful to run. And both of those things is true. But the only good influence thing that's ever come out of it, I think it's fair to say, is that people there have taught me not to play thread chicken. And yet here I am doing it again in my nervousness. I beg your forgiveness, Discord friends. I don't normally do it these days, I swear. You know, I really have to admit that a part of me, a small part, maybe an overly optimistic part, but a part of me nonetheless, thought maybe this video would be easy to make. I could just sit down, stitch for an hour, have a bit of a chunter on, and then it would take barely any editing, and bam, my longest ever video. And I thought, I don't know necessarily how many people are going to sit and watch an entire hour of me stitching, but I bet Sherry watches. Sherry watches everything. And if just one person watches, then maybe it's worth it. But this is so not easy at all. And I think maybe I need to rethink my plans for Stitch With Me World Domination. I also clearly need to bring a needle threader with me next time. You would not think I used to be a Twitch streamer, although admittedly most of that was me just being terrified of things in the deep sea or burning up Kerbals in space and just shouting, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god," over and over again, which to a certain kind of viewer that seemed to appeal, but it was very, very stressful for me. Oh god, where am I? I think I might have come the wrong way. He's gonna get me, he's gonna get me. Alright, so I have just cut out a big section, or maybe I sped it up and put music over it or something. I don't really know what future me is gonna do, but either way, my point is, some of those threads are now dealt with, and I'm on to really my first proper section of the day. So I can maybe concentrate a tiny bit less and chunter on a tiny bit more. Now, you might be wondering, and this is a fair question, why I have little gaps all over this project that haven't been filled in. And actually, until last night, that problem was way worse. What happened is when I first bought the pattern, I couldn't afford all of the colours that I was missing. So I just got the really important ones. I kind of kitted up the ones that I had in stash and just bought the most numerously used ones. For example, I didn't own 939, which is the navy blue that makes up a significant chunk of the background. I think in the first 10 by 10 square of the pattern there was only one stitch that isn't that navy blue, so I really had to pick that up ahead of time. But all the other ones, especially if they didn't have any stitches or just one or two on the first page of the pattern, I kind of left until later. And then with my Christmas money, I managed to stock up. Hang on, I've lost where I am again. No, I haven't. It's fine. Yeah, with my Christmas money, I managed to stock up. But then I ran out of floss drops that I'd made. So I floss dropped up the ones that, again, at that point, seemed like they were going to be most used in the near future. And I left the other ones in a bag, which I only got round to floss dropping yesterday. And that is why there are all these little holes, because I've just been doing it in order of priority. And those ones didn't have enough stitches to seem worth kitting up, basically. But we've got there in the end. Now I've got every single colour on either a floss drop, or the older ones that I owned from ages ago are on a bobbin. And I can actually go back and fill in all those gaps, which is what I was doing last night. So it actually looks a lot more filled in than it was. There are just a few more bits left to go that I didn't quite get a chance to finish off before recording this. Obviously, it's nicer if you have all of the colours at the start, especially if you are parking, because it's the whole point of parking is because it's really satisfying to see the little sections complete, right? I mean, that's not the whole point, but you know what I mean. And it's just a real shame when those sections have a few stitches missing in them, so yeah, I'm really, really glad to have them all now. But this is just kind of what you have to do when you haven't quite got the funds for the whole thing. Kitting up a whole project, especially a full coverage project like this, can be a lot of money if you do it in one go. So, needs must. So I asked some friends who do Stitch With Me videos. Well, first of all, I asked them, how on earth do you do that without getting really nervous and sweaty? To which they had no answer, because apparently that's just me. But I also asked them, what sort of thing do you talk about? And of course, we've covered the pattern itself. We've covered the technique or lack thereof that I am using to stitch it. What we haven't covered is, now by request, you know who you are. What are my thoughts on this year's Eurovision season so far? That is a big question. Oh, I looked away to give that emphasis at the other camera and I lost where I was for a second. So, first of all, I will say we haven't got all of the songs for this year's Eurovision season yet. I think there are another 6 coming out this week. In fact, I think one of them is due out today, so I might be missing that while I'm recording this. And there are a couple of national finals at the weekend, some other internal selections, I don't know. But my point is, we haven't got the full lineup, so whoever my favourites are now may change. And also, the ones that I don't like now might grow on me as I learn more about them and the artists, or sometimes just seeing them live when you've only seen the video, or seeing like the passion they put into the performance can completely change my ranking. So, all of that said, currently, my favourite are Albania. I don't think that's ever been the case before. I certainly don't own a giant Albania flag. Normally what I do every year is I buy the 5-foot flag of my favourite country and I will wear it on the night. Lost my place for a second there. So I've built up quite a collection of 5-foot country flags and Albania are not on there. So yeah, if they stay my favourite, might have to invest in a new flag this year, but we will see. Let me mark this off in Pattern Keeper and I will be back with you in a second. Okay, what was I talking about? Why I like Albania. Yes. Well, first of all, just because it's a vibe and it's amazing and I love her voice, and also her kind of slightly shambolic dancing is very relatable to me. Like, she's really feeling herself in that performance and I respect it a lot. But also, it's just a banger of a tune. It's got a great beat. I actually like it more live than the studio version, which is a really good sign. And the main thing is that they are not translating it to English. Albania have this terrible habit of putting out a song that I quite like and then translating it into English, at which point it loses all of its oomph and all of the words become really awkward because they've had to jam them into the existing tune. I hate that. They did it last year. It was terrible. They didn't qualify from the semis. I think they've learned their lesson. I think I read that they've confirmed that it's going to stay in Albanian this year. So hopeful for a better result. You can also check out Finland. They have quite the banger this year. A lot of people like Malta. I'm going to say, if you are perhaps easily offended, maybe Malta is not your thing. It's not my thing because I just don't think it's a very good song, but yeah, fair warning on Malta. Okay, hang on, I'm back where I started. That's wrong. Haven't marked those stitches off because you got me talking about Eurovision, and by you I mean me. Like, nobody made me do this apart from myself. The not scandal, but the big thing at the moment is Sweden's song selection, because one of the people trying to make it to Eurovision for Sweden is Måns Zelmerlöw, who won for them in 2015. And we love Måns. I have no problem with him. But his song is not it. I didn't particularly love his 2015 one either, I have to admit. But it won, so what do I know? But I don't know, his entry this year is uninspiring, and I hope it doesn't win the national selection, but it almost certainly will. Now, so far, so standard for Sweden. The problem is they have a much, much better option, and it's been stuck in my head, and it just... Somebody said it best in a YouTube comment on the video of their performance and said, the vibes are on point. And that's totally true. And I think that's what we need right now. We need on point vibes. And Kai are bringing it. Måns Zelmerlöw is not bringing it. But there's almost no chance that they will win just because of how the Swedish national selection is set up. So I'm ready to have my heart broken. But if by some miracle it did win, Kai would definitely... I don't know where they would land on my rankings. I don't think they'd be first place in place of Albania. I don't know. They would definitely be top two though. I just don't know which way round those two would go. Okay. Where am I here? Let's make sure I'm not lost. It's fine. We're good. I'm stitching in a non-traditional order, but at least I know where I am. Who else do I like? Okay, right. Sometimes there's a Eurovision song that is not my usual kind of music, and is not something I would normally choose to listen to, and is not normally something I would even like in Eurovision, but there's just a particular example of it that I love. And this year, that has happened with Ireland's song, which is a Euro bop about the tragic tale of Laika the dog. Yeah, it sounds unlikely, and it makes it even more unlikely when I tell you that the girl singing it, Emmy, is not Irish, has no ties to Ireland whatsoever. She's actually Norwegian, but it's representing Ireland. It won Ireland's national selection, fair and square, so, you go off, Emmy. It's been also stuck in my head. It's a bop, but it's terribly sad. So there are conflicting emotions around it, basically. Okay, no yarn chicken, no thread chicken even. Let's get that tied off. Gonna get like the video comment of hate mail for putting my needle in my mouth then, but we all do it, and you know you do, so. Okay, that's a good chunk of stitches. I did some before I came up here to try and get rid of the worst of the parked threads down here, and I've now done 156 stitches today, which is pretty good. Because what I'm trying to do... Okay, well, basically what's happened is I've accidentally started doing the 100-day project, which is... I mean, it's kind of what it sounds like. It's 100 days in a row where you commit to doing whatever creative thing it is, so like drawing or whatever. That started, I'm not sure exactly when it started officially, but before it started, I'd kind of independently decided to do that on this project, because I said recently that I want to make more time for it, and that was the best way I could think how. I set up a spreadsheet to track my daily stitches, and I just want to get at least one thread put in every day, you know? Just see if I can make good progress that way, and it's been working fine. But yeah, about 9 days in, I think, I started to see people posting about the 100-day project, and I realised, oh yeah, that's a thing, and that's around this time of year, so I probably should have waited and done it officially, but yeah, I guess I'm just like slightly ahead of them. Also, I did give myself permission to not do it on certain days depending on certain criteria, so I don't have that stress of thinking I have to actually stitch every single day for 100 days, so it might take me longer calendar-wise to reach 100, and maybe we'll sync up with the challenges eventually. I don't know. What's this? Is this a parked thread? Are you a parked thread? I thought perhaps I'd made a mistake there, but it's just that I wasn't zoomed far enough in to Pattern Keeper, so I guess that was my mistake. Okay, let's sort this one. I guess I should also honourable mention Latvia, because Dave is Team Finland and Latvia so far. He's thoroughly unimpressed by the Sauna Boys for Sweden. I don't know why. Maybe he's a secret Måns Zelmerlöw fan. But yes, I really like Latvia's performance. It's not something that I will listen to on a playlist as such, but it's really great live. Fair play to them, because Latvia always just kind of send what they want to send, and they don't seem to think too much about what's likely to qualify or what will necessarily do well. Like, I'm not saying it won't, just that they seem to pick whatever they want to send to represent them in any given year. And I frequently really love what they send, so I clearly have quite Latvian tastes. I also already own the giant Latvian flag, because they've been my number one a few times. I am just off on a whim up here. I don't even know. I didn't plan to stitch in this direction, but I'm just going where Pattern Keeper takes me. So, my plan was get rid of all those parked threads down the bottom, and then maybe start on like a solid chunk of the dark blue or something. However, I don't know how long I've been recording for. Oh my god, 52 minutes recording. And a lot of that I am going to edit out for the sake of all of us. But maybe that's enough to make a beginner stitch with me video. I don't know. I need to mark those stitches off in Pattern Keeper before I do anything else. Hang on. So you can see I'm just getting to like a nice satisfying chunk of the dark blue again. And those are the best bits to stitch because you don't even have to think about it. And that's really what I should have been doing while talking to you today, but sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. So I think then, for everybody's sake, I am going to call it there. Thank you for sticking with me. This has been awful. I don't know when or if I'll do it again. I'll see if it's even possible to make this footage into a coherent video, because it's very possible that it's not going to be, and I'm just going to miss this week and have to quickly record something else. I don't know. You would really think 3.5 years in I would be more comfortable on camera, but here we are. Alright, thanks to my Ko-fi supporters for enabling this absolute disaster of a video, and especially to the Stitch Squad. Mary Ann Johnson, Sunny, Candy Riley Pettinger, Laura Sellarts, Enlightened Flamingo, Cross Stitch the Globe, I'd Rather Be Stitching, Angela Sue Harrison, Emily Hobbs, Lee the Cozy Crafter, Sarah, Angela Wells, Enraged Flamingo, Alicia, Louise T, Mel, Kleindug, and Juliana Banana. I'll be back soon with some more crafty nonsense, so in the meantime, have a brilliant rest of your day and keep making cool stuff. Bye!